suffer no be small. But say I get sense. Poverty no good at all. Now it make I join this business. For one night you don't be cheap. It's once again. Everybody be prayer. If anybody follow Mugu, my brother, I go chop back. National airport, National stadium, Presidency, my sister, brother, we the Mugu, I be the master. Oh, Iboma, I go chop your dollar, I go take your money, disappear. For one time in love it, we the Mugu, I be the master. The refinery, the contract, now you wife. But you won't pay me some more money, make I bring her. We the Mugu, I be the master. When know you won't pay what you then we say that you style. What countryman do we go? You know the shots. All I kill like that. Whatever you go back is greedy. I say I don't see them fire. That's why when they run enter my terrapo, I will show them fire.
All right, so that's enough of that. If they show them fire, then go show them fire. So all that, it's just a really, really quick snapshot, little reaction video to media outing by Aminu Tambuwal. So we're not going to waste any time on preambles. We just go straight into the, it's a session with Charles Anyagolu on Arise TV. So Aminu Tambuwal, he came out just recently now to speak to his take on the present status of the Nigerian political space. So we'll interact with that immediately and right now. So like, share, subscribe. Come join me if you want to come. All of the things I say, like, share, subscribe, and all that. So let's just get started, shall we? Let's get started. We bring this up. Let me know in the comment section. Say hello, by the way, in the comment section as you are coming in. But let me know in the comment section what the audio quality is like. So let's just get started. Because I want to bag and tag this within 1 hour. So let's just get started. This is Aminu Tambuwal telling us now that the electorate have nothing to do with the elections within the Nigerian space. Something that we've always all known, but quite alarming and surprising that a senior politician will come out and say this. So we pick it up from here.
Talk about enduring political relevance. Few leaders have walked as many corridors of Nigeria's democracy as our guest today, Senator Aminu Tambuwal, a lawyer and politician whose journey spans the heart of the legislature and the seat of executive power. From presiding over the House of Representatives as Speaker to leading Sokoto State as Governor, and now serving in the Nigerian Senate. You could say that Senator Tambuwal has taken various seats at the top table where Nigeria's fate is decided. So, having been part of the system and having seen it all, how does he now assess this country as it grapples with crippling hardship, raging insecurity, and what his fellow opposition politicians see as a leadership crisis? He's now, of course, a key figure in the ADC opposition coalition, or as he put it, a transitioning figure in the party that's aiming to challenge the APC in 2027. And this weekend, at a colloquium marking his 60th birthday in Abuja, he delivered an urgent message warning that at a time of mounting economic pressure, divisive political realignments, and growing public demand for accountability, Nigeria is in peril and needs collective efforts to save it.
Today is unfortunate. This is not where we expected to be. Those who laid the foundation for this democracy, some alive, many of them are not living, even in their graves, are not happy with the current situation of Nigeria. Those living who believe in Nigeria, who are genuine about Nigeria, who are not selfish, cannot be happy with the current situation in Nigeria. The only way out of it is for all of us to agree that there is something fundamentally wrong.
Senator Tambuwal. So tonight, as he marks his 60th birthday this month, Senator Aminu Tambuwal joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much indeed.
All right, so we all agree that there is something fundamentally wrong with Nigerian politics, but is the answer in the hands of people like Aminu Tambuwal, who has, as Charles described, he has been a senator severally, a governor 2 terms, and he has been within the very center heart of Nigerian politics pretty much for the last 30, 40 years. So he's raising the alarm, but should the alarm not be raised against him? Because he is part of the problem, nothing to do with the solution.
Coming in.
Thank you, Charles, for having me.
And congratulations on your 60th birthday. I mean, you've achieved so much in such a fairly short life. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Governor of Sokoto State, and now Senator. What has kept you grounded through the
Okay, so look at that CV. He's been in the House of Reps. He's been the Speaker of the House of Reps. He's been a 2-term governor of Sokoto State, and is now a senator. And is telling us that there's something fundamentally rotten within the heart core of Nigerian politics. So, I mean, there is nobody that resides in that space other than him. So the rot is himself, and the rot that needs to be removed is him.
and downs of Nigerian politics?
Well, first and foremost, Charles, it is all the grace of God. But I also believe that growing up, I have this conviction in me that endeavors in politics and governance are about the people. It's all about service. It's not about self. And in that determination, I followed through. It has not been rosy. It has not been easy. Right from 2003, when I started seeking for tickets to run for the House of Representatives seat of Aminu Tambuwal Federal Constituency. I was in the PDP. I was the state legal advisor of the party. But through some machinations, I was reported to have failed the primaries. So my team and our team now negotiated and exited the PDP and joined the ANPP. And it was on the platform of ANPP that I came to the House of Representatives for the first time. So that was the foundation. And in the House of Representatives, Speaker Aminu Bello Masari from day one identified me and saddled me with the responsibility of being Deputy Chair, House Committee on Rules and Business. This is a committee that is at the heart of running the affairs of the Parliament. And of course, as is the tradition, it is only someone that is trusted by the leadership that is given either chairmanship of that committee or deputy chairman. And then we started on that note. Of course, in the course of events, there was some discomfort in the ANPP caucus and minority caucus. Things happened, and my colleagues went against zoning and elected me as minority leader of the House of Representatives in 2005. So it's a continuous back and forth. And then, of course, 2007, we had our issues with the then governor of Sokoto State, Attahiru Bafrawa. Again, he and his team denied me the ticket of their new political party, the DPP. We realigned with Wamako, who was still in ANPP.
You know, I really detest the inability of our politicians to acknowledge laws. So he lost something he contended for. Then rather than him admit that he lost that thing that he contended for, he's instead inferring that he was robbed out of it. He said they denied him the ticket. Obviously, you are contending with other people. They equally have that chance to win it. So if you lose it, then you lose it. What do you mean they denied you the ticket?
And then the political situation in the state generated into something that President Obasanjo and his party looked at and took interest and invited Wamoko and our team to join the PDP. So in 2007, as a tour, I was on the platform of PDP, ran for a second term, and I won the elections. I came back to the House of Representatives, where my colleagues now tasked me with the responsibility of becoming the Deputy Chief Whip of the House. During the turbulence of whether it should go or remain, virtually all—
That's the woman who was the speaker of the House at the time.
Madam Speaker.
Yeah.
Virtually all the principal officers were asked to go. But I remained, and then we continued, and I served the full term as Deputy Chief Whip of the House of Representatives. In 2011, I again ran on the platform of PDP, came back to the House, and then my colleagues again went against zoning.
Yes, I was going to say your political life has been characterized by a kind of rebellion, hasn't it?
Well, maybe for want of a better word.
Indeed.
Not necessarily rebellion.
Yeah, but rebellion against a particular issue, which is the issue of
rebellion with a cause.
Rebel with a cause.
Yes,
right.
More of that.
And I mean, that's a fascinating synopsis. But just very briefly, so people get a better sense of who you are, where you've come from. Take us back to the beginning. Your political journey began in 2003, and that shaped the politician that you are today. Is that right?
No. I have been involved in politics right from 1996 transition, when political parties were being formed. We were under the leadership of led Operation Kafi in ANC, and the party was not.
You know, I really want him to get to contemporary politics, so I'm going to skip forward just a little bit. He's telling us about his backstory, which is all interesting and good, but that is not where the real interest is. We want to get to where he speaks to politics as it obtains now.
Without following the due process.
Let me pick you up on that, because looking honestly at Nigeria today, I mean, you've been part of all arms of government, either directly or indirectly. Which level of leadership do you think has failed the people the most? Is it the executive arm of government? I mean, you were a governor, or is it the legislature? You were Speaker of the House and now Senator, or the judiciary? And I mentioned that because you are a lawyer. Which level of leadership do you think has failed the people the most, or is it all three?
Well, Charles, let me be very honest with you. I believe that as at today, it's all the three. As at today. At certain times in the past, you may find,
you know, is it complicit in all that? Is where the question is, because as Charles said now, it's a member of the judiciary by virtue of his training as a lawyer, and is a politician at the top end by virtue of being the Speaker of the House of Representatives once upon a time, a two-term governor once upon a time, and now a sitting as senator, which is the topmost echelon of Nigerian politics. So if he's claiming that the system has let the people down, is he complicit in that letting the people down? That's where the question is.
Wobbling, and the legislature coming in through checks and balances, through the constitutional framework, and strengthen things and reposition the government. You find the judiciary also having some challenges, and then somehow interventions come in, and then, but today, as of today, it's all the levels.
And looking back, what policy decisions during your time as a politician, I mean, you still are, but either previously or currently, what policy decisions do you now believe Nigerians paid the highest price for?
As of today?
Some would say allowing military rule, some would say, you know, the elections that go sort of haywire in this country.
Military rule was not allowed. They usually force themselves on the country. It wasn't as if there was any choice left for the people. Most of the times they come in and then it's not about them being allowed. But when you talk about democracy, part of the policy decisions that have negatively impacted, I believe, is the electoral process.
Right.
And closely related to the issues of government.
The policy, the electoral reforms was actually done under the Buhari administration. So the template of the elections that we're running now is the reforms done under the Buhari administration. The current administration has tinkered with it a little bit here and there, but to all intents and purposes, the electoral the new electoral bill, the concurrent electoral bill that runs the Nigerian election, was something that came into being under the Buhari administration. And this guy right there, Aminu Tambuwal, he was very much part of the decision-making caucus of that Buhari administration. So again, I am still seeing what distances him from what he is claiming condemns the country.
Governance and what we find today, in the way and manner, the current administration whimsically removed fuel subsidy without any alternative, without any framework, without thinking it through, without consultation with other stakeholders and Nigerians on how best to go about.
You know, that statement right there is fundamentally untrue, which is to say that it is a lie. This present administration, the Tinubu administration, did not remove the fuel subsidy. The Buhari administration, by act of our constitution, removed that fuel subsidy. So it was already embedded in the petroleum industry bill, which the Buhari administration birthed before they left. So the removal of the fuel, so Tinubu may have well made the grand announcement at his inauguration speech, but the removal of the fuel subsidy was actually done under the Buhari administration. So again, that is fun, and he would know, because he was a senior member of that administration. So what Aminu Tambuwal said there is fundamentally untrue, which is to say it's a lie.
Because as at the time it was done, it was clear Mr. President was only interested in removing it without having any plan on his sleeves.
Right.
So that's another policy decision.
Well, let me take the opportunity of you mentioning elections to look forward to 2027, which is the next general election. I'm sure you know that Nigerians are losing faith in elections. That's probably one of the reasons why you brought that up. From what you've seen inside the system, are elections still truly decided by voters in this country or by political power?
No. It's not completely decided by the electorates. I can say that. And
okay, so that's where the headline came in right there. So that is Aminu Tambuwal then telling you that you might as well sit at home on election day, because that there is nothing in your outing that would determine who your president is. So he's saying this, of course, as a to dumb down and delegitimize the sitting government. So very much a political statement. So if he's saying the electorate have nothing to do with electing governance, he has been in governance for 30 years. So is he again, I repeat, complicit in what he alleges?
Without mincing words, we know quite oftentimes that at coalition level, be it at the polling unit, at the ward level, at local government level, at the state level, or even at the national level, things happen that misrepresent what voters actually voted for.
But then you've benefited from elections, and also you've challenged outcomes of elections.
Yes.
Where exactly is the system breaking down? Is it INEC, is it the courts, or the politicians themselves?
Both. It's a combination of both.
Right.
Politicians, yes. As I said in my earlier remarks, they try to find corners to cut. So wherever there's a loophole, politicians take advantage of that loophole. And
by the way, if anybody wants to come in, you can come in. The link is in the comment section. So just let me send it again so it's immediate to hand. I mean, if you want to come in, come in. If you don't want to come in, this is no great shakes. It's a free and easy sort of a thing. So if you do want to come in, though, the link right there in the comment section, come in. But I cannot believe the audacity, the effrontery of this guy, a beneficiary of a corrupt system, now coming to tell us that something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
INEC, from day one, in terms of the day of the election, be it failure of either beavers or failure of whatever technology, and then inability to transmit, even to start the election on time, and then transmit the results, count the results.
So his criticism is only get towards the last cycle of election. So that's what he's saying. So because that's when the transmission of the everything, but it is not speaking to the backdrop of the malaise that led to that system. He has been in politics throughout the whole of the Fourth Republic. This guy has been a frontliner in politics. So if he's saying that the system was corrupt in the last cycle of election, what about the system that variously brought him into power throughout all of his political career? Was the system corrupt when he became a representative to go to the House of Reps? Was the system corrupt when he became the Speaker of the House of Reps? Was the system corrupt? Was it corruption? Was it a corrupt system that made him a two-term governor of Sokoto State? And was it a corrupt system that makes him a senator? Or did the corruption start in 2023 when he was voted out of power?
And transmit them. In between, you find INEC officials being compromised.
So would you support full election?
And by the way, can people please like and subscribe? I'm not seeing numbers going up. Please like and subscribe.
Electronic transmission of results nationwide, even if it costs you or your party victories?
I wholeheartedly support any reform that will improve the electoral process of Nigeria, including electronic transmission. Even if I, assuming I'm going to contest an election in 2027, will lose to that process.
Right.
I don't mind.
But you yourself have changed. I mean, you mentioned that at the outset. You've changed political platforms in the past. Many Nigerians see defections as political opportunism. What makes your own decisions different?
Basically, as I said, in 2003, I believe the process was not fair to me. I left and joined the ANP.
Oh, okay, so the process is not fair to him only when the politics goes against him. And this is a particular malaise that infests the Nigerian politician. Anytime there's never been an election in the history of that country that somebody won fairly and somebody lost fairly. Every single election, the loser was rigged out, and the winner is corrupt. That is all throughout. Go through whichever republic from independence till date. There's never been one election that the loser has not claimed he was rigged out of his victory.
But when you say it wasn't fair to you, you mean you lost?
I lost. It was manipulated,
Right.
and I
No,
lost.
but that's what all the other politicians who switch parties
I am
say.
speaking for myself, and
Right.
that's the truth.
Right.
I lost that unfair process. I tested my popularity, and I won in 2003. In 2007, our political leader, then Bafra Sokoto said, Bafra said, I was not popular enough to run. I said, okay. I ported with one Mokus camp. We tested our popularity, and we won. And then in 2007, I had no issues with the ticket. I remained in PDP. In 2011, I had no issues with the ticket. I remained in PDP. In 2015, I was part of the process of the G5 governors who splitted from PDP
To APC.
to APC to form the APC. So it was about my conviction, particularly on issues around and about good governance.
Right. In that regard, is party ideology still relevant in Nigeria? Has it ever had any relevance, or are parties now just vehicles for winning power?
For me, I have my doubt on parties being ideologically driven. It's not. I don't believe so. Thus far, most of the parties have been used just as vehicles.
There is no argument to suggest that there is any ideological underpinning of the Nigerian political system. But loosely, you want to say that the APC is probably a left of center party. So if you're in the UK, the APC is probably the equivalency of the Labour Party, and the PDP is the equivalent of the Conservative Party. If you're in the United States, the APC is probably equivalent, parallel, comparable to the Democrats, and PDP, the Republicans, because the PDP, the APC is more socially geared towards the people, at least under the Buhari administration, who tried to push forward a lot of people-centric sort of policies, and the PDP is more of an oligarchical sort of a structure that leans more towards business and wants business to grow the country rather than a social welfare system. But even saying that, there is no real ideology that underpins the Nigerian political landscape.
So in that regard, them as
the issue is not about ideology. Okay, if it's about ideology, what was President Muhammadu Buhari doing in APC with some characters that we have in APC? If it was about ideology, what I don't want to mention names, but if you look at President Muhammadu Buhari then, the one who was being perceived, the one who was being viewed, what was he doing with some characters in politics? As of today, in APC and in PDP, in ADC, we still have, what I may describe as political courts of many colors. I mean, people who ordinarily about ideology should not be straight-bed fellows.
Well, talking about characters, I mean, you once ran for president under the banner of the PDP.
Yes.
And it was reported that your main backer for the ticket was Nyesom Wike. Is that a fact?
Yeah, he was backing me very well.
So he's your chum. He's your political buddy, if you
well, he was my partner
at the time.
At that time.
Right. So does that give you a sense of how allegedly meddlesome he can be, given what is going on in Rivers State today, and how difficult things might be for Governor Fubara? Because if you had been successful in your attempt to win the presidential ticket, you actually did very well. You came second. second to Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah.
But if you had been successful, might he have made the same kind of overbearing demands he's reported to be making of Governor Fubara?
Well, let me say this.
In order to sustain his support.
Let me say this possibly for the first time to the public. When I ran the primaries of 2019, I and Governor Nyesom Wike had not had any pact of he being my running mate. Because it has been
Yes, it's been said that he wanted to be your vice presidential
not at all
candidate.
He never requested that. I must be fair to him. And he never gave me that condition. Or this is what he must take in government, or this is what he must have. So if maybe he's had that with Fubara.
So what was his condition for supporting? I mean, there must have been a reason for supporting.
The reason is that he identified me as someone young and then someone who can do the job. I believe it was about my capacity.
Right.
Not about any opportunism of him coming to manipulate the government if and when we want.
So you're saying publicly and unequivocally that there were no demands from him?
No.
All right. Given what we know about politics, not just even only Nigerian politics, but politics in general, because Aminu Tambuwal now is telling you now that once upon a time he was contending for a presidential ticket, and the person sponsoring that campaign was Nyesom Wike. So that is to say that when Nyesom Wike's political influence, but more importantly, Nyesom Wike's money, which is the abundance of the never-ending dollar notes in our River State. So all of that was deployed to try and get the PDP presidential ticket for Aminu Tambuwal. So it's telling you that Nyesom Wike did all that, but Nyesom Wike wanted nothing in return. So just pause for a moment and reflect on that. How possible is that? Forget what we know about Wike. We know with Wike it's impossible, but in politics in general, it is impossible. Nobody would deploy all of their monetary and political assets to support you just because they feel you're a good guy. Of course, of course, it's not true now. So why would he even tell such a lie? And by the way, make sure you're liking and subscribing. Like and subscribe.
Right, okay. Well, let's leave it at that. Let's turn to the party that you are transitioning into. I like that term. You're the one who came up with it.
Yes.
Which is the ADC coalition.
Yes.
Ayo Fayose, the former governor of Ekiti State, has said emphatically that in his assessment, if the ADC does not field Peter Obi as its presidential candidate in 2027, then the party will be stuck with what he called spent forces and wouldn't stand a chance. What's your reaction to that? I mean, you've got a leg and a half in the ADC at the moment.
Well, Charles, you are right by saying that I have been part of the coalition, and there's a possibility of transitioning to ADC. I'm consulting our stakeholders in Sokoto and other stakeholders across the country for us to conclude on that. However, I have said on a program aired by Arise that I don't join issues with Ayo Fayose. Before. I said so before. I still stand on what I've said.
Well, it's not about him. It's about the point he's making.
Then refresh your question and ask me.
Well, let me put it this way then. If the ADC does not field Peter Obi as its presidential candidate in 2027, do you agree with those who say the party will be stuck with spent forces and wouldn't stand a chance?
Well, I don't agree with that. I believe that the leadership of the ADC from
of course he would not agree with that. How can he agree with that? Aminu Tambuwal, by past antecedent and still concurrently, has presidential ambitions himself. So when they declare the race open, he's going to throw his hat in the ring in the ADC now. So how can he then agree that Wike is rather Peter Obi is the only viability of that space? of course he's going to disagree. So that question is somewhat redundant. I haven't just spoken to him about his presidential ambitions. You are not asking him if he's a spent force and his rival is a better option. Of course, he's going to disagree now.
Foundation from what we've been discussing. One, we agreed that we must have very clear, transparent primary election. And if we have it, whoever emerges, all of us in the coalition will support that candidate. Either Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Rotimi Amechi,
or even yourself.
Well, I'm talking about those who have clearly indicated interest in running.
And of those people, is there anyone that you particularly support?
Well, when we get to that bridge,
well, we are at that bridge.
We are not there yet.
The bridge is this interview.
We already know who Aminu Tambuwal supports because the infamous Brutus. Do you remember the Shakespeare Caesar et tu, Brute? When Brutus stabbed Caesar in the back in open glare, we all saw that play out at the PDP primaries in the last cycle of elections. When, as this guy said, his main sponsor and backer, Yemsin Wike, he was in contention, but this guy went on the rostrum, threw Wike from that rostrum onto the skyscraper floor and declared his intention for Atiku. So we already know who Tambuwal will be backing in that primaries.
No. It's not this interview.
Right, okay.
I have been playing a major role in the coalition.
Right.
So it will be too insensitive for me
I understand
to come out right now and say I'm supporting this or that or that.
I understand.
Yes.
But let me put it another way, because we talked about your political role as a rebel with a cause. And that's over the issue of zoning, which came up repeatedly during your time in the House of Representatives, and you consistently defeated that. How clear-eyed are you about the risks that the issue of zoning poses to the ADC, with the main contenders for the 2027 presidential ticket coming from the North and the South?
Charles, this issue of zoning is something that is having a lot of faces. And it depends on where your standpoint, where you are looking at it. If you are looking at power shift from north to south, you calculate the years that the South has had presidency from 1999, when the zoning actually started, to where we are today. If you are one of those who are saying that the North should have it, your argument will be that the South has been more in power.
Yeah, which one is your argument then?
Hold on. I want us to have the best. Me. Wherever he's going to come from.
Yeah, but you have to agree. And I don't know. I mean, you've got...
From my trajectory, Charles, is clear that I've never been a product of zoning.
I know, but what I'm saying is that...
I don't think that there's any ambiguity in what the guide. And by the way, can people please make sure that they're subscribing and they're liking? We do this every day. So if you want to be part of it, you can come into the studio and express yourself as well. But please make sure you are liking and subscribing. But I don't think there's any ambiguity in the response that Tambuwal gave right there. It says, if you want to go with the North-South dichotomy, that power goes to the north, power goes to the south, then under the current Fourth Republic, that you have to look at the numbers then and and then conclude who has held power the most. So that is what he's saying. So what Aminu Tambuwal is saying by that statement is that it is actually the turn of the North, because we had 8 years of Obasanjo, 6 years Goodluck Jonathan, we had 8 years Buhari, and about 2 years Yar'Adua. So which then weighs the Fourth Republic towards the South. Now we're having 4 years of Tinubu. So that's what? How many years is that? 8 plus 6 plus 4. That's nearly 18 years, going on 20 years of Southern rule. And if you look at 8 plus 2 is 10. So what his argument is that the South have actually benefited more in terms of the rotating of the divide more than the North. So his argument by that extension is that Atiku Abubakar should be the next president. There is no ambiguity. It's not equivocating. There is no verification. It's quite clear.
By being minority leader to being the Speaker of the House of the so I believe that Nigeria should have the best.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
is
that
if someone's mother is gasping and in a critical condition, and you are rushing her to the hospital, are you going to ask for a physician from your local tribe, or you are going to ask for the best hand that can save your mother?
I understand that point, but I mean...
So that's the situation of Nigeria today.
Yeah, but you have very sharp instincts as a politician. And I wonder if you are at least a little bit afraid about that and what it could mean for the ADC and the direction it might be forced to head in.
By the grace of God, I believe that any candidate that the ADC comes up with in 2027 will defeat Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
But it could cause divisions within the ADC.
We are managing, our differences, Charles, and we are having Nigeria and Nigeria's interest at heart. Rest assured that the leadership of ADC under David Mark is having this country and its interest at heart.
Well, let me look at it from another angle. Many Nigerians believe that the same political class keeps recycling itself. What do you say to them?
Yes, there is that factor you cannot remove. I have always...
You know, there's the saying that if somebody tells you that this is who I am, just believe them. How can you argue against? I'm saying this is who I am, and you are arguing with me that no, I'm not like that. I'm like something else. This guy told us who he is in the last cycle of election. His best friend in politics, his beneficiary, his benefactor, his godfather in politics was Yemsin Wike. Yemsin Wike paid for the abundance of this guy's political success in terms of the financial sponsoring. When it came to the moment of decision, it was blood is thicker than water. Fulani above all else. We all saw how this guy stabbed Wike in the back at that PDP primaries. So, having seen that, what would then lead you to... Why is Charles then asking him if he will favor Obi over Atiku, when he even stabbed his own best friend in the back for Atiku? Obi is a nothing to him now. So it's somewhat of a redundant narrative to suggest that somebody like this will back Obi for anything. He doesn't give an FUCK. He doesn't give an FUCK about Peter Obi.
Always been urging people of good character, with capacity and content to join politics. We must not leave it to those that are otherwise. Anybody that wants to come into the is invited. I believe in quality, I believe in content, I believe in character and capacity.
And are you yourself still seeking higher office, or is your focus now on shaping power behind the scenes, a kind of kingmaker of sorts?
Not kingmaker. I am playing that role of ensuring that we galvanize and bring out the best for Nigeria.
Right.
My focus is on that.
Not on yourself.
Not anything personal.
Right.
Not anything personal.
Because, I mean, you've tried to run for president.
Yes,
before.
I did.
Do you still have that ambition?
Ambition is ambition. but what I am doing now is bringing people together to work together.
But you don't have any desire to compete for the presidency in 2027? I
don't have that desire.
Okay. Well, let's switch gears slightly. You are the former governor of Sokoto State.
Okay, so we will hold him hostage to that statement when the primary starts, because it tells you now, we know that he's not a man of his word, Aminu Tambuwal. We know he has no integrity. We know he stands for nothing outside of tribal jingoism. So it's telling you now that he has no ambitions towards 2027. But as sure as night follows day, as soon as INEC announces and they start to set the date for the primaries, you'll see this guy throwing his hat in the ring. That's guaranteed. And by the way, let's tap up the likes, and if you're not already subscribed, please do. We do this on a daily basis. So subscribe, turn on the notification bell, make sure that you are following so you can be part of the conversation as we build up towards 2027, which will be a seminal year in the history and the journey of our country.
Make of Donald Trump's muscle flexing in Nigeria in general, and specifically his attack on your state, Sokoto?
Well, it was very concerning and very worrisome when we woke up to hear that missiles were dropped in part of my constituency, and of course Tangaza in the other constituency and part of Sokoto state. Of course, we are aware that Donald Trump is taking too much interest in Nigeria. But we were not expecting that the first part of the country and state was going to hit was Sokoto. Because frankly speaking, and any leader who is aware of what's happening in Nigeria knows that you don't have that main security challenge as you have in some parts of the country, in Sokoto. Yes, as governor, I knew that the Lakurawas were there, even during my own term, and we pursued them and chased them back and pushed them back. But the security situation in Sokoto.
You didn't think there was justification?
Yes, I don't see that justification.
But then, according to the Washington Post, which has done a thorough sort of investigation into what happened, both from the American side and from the Nigerian side, they said that it was a decision. The Nigerian government supplied the intelligence to the Americans and told them where to go and attack. And
incidentally, I'm not even a member of any security committee in the National Assembly in the Senate, so I don't have that information.
But you disagree with that decision?
Oh, okay. So if he says that he's not a member of any security agency, is not a participant in the current administration, he has no access to information, then on what authority is he saying that the Americans were wrong to have bombed the insurgent camps in Sokoto? He himself admits that there are insurgent camps in Sokoto now. So what intelligence led to that particular place? Because, of course, the expectation is that they'll be bombing Sambisa forest or somewhere in Borno, maybe Maiduguri or whatever, but they specifically went to Sokoto, which was an intelligence-led operation. So what is his pushback? What information does he have to the contrary to insist that that was wrong?
If that is the information given by the Nigerian government, it must have been a very, very incorrect security information. Because, okay, what's happening in Borno? What's happening in Zamfara, Katsina? Even Niger of recent, Benue, Plateau.
Well, it's all about intelligence.
So if it's about intelligence,
where your attack would have the greatest chance of
being
successful.
The National Security Advisor or anybody in government should come and tell us and give us the impact of that attack. What was the impact?
True. That's an important thing that many Nigerians are waiting for.
You people, the media should take up our government on that, because the government has been very, very. How do I describe it?
Cagey.
Not cagey, but they have not been able to come out even with a clear statement.
Yeah.
As to what is their position.
Well, we can't put a gun to their heads.
I'm not talking about guns. I'm talking about engaging them and taking them.
Yeah, we've been doing that. But let me move on from that, because there's been talk, and you are a member of the opposition, which is why I'm asking you this question. There's been talk that a hawkish American political and diplomatic intervention in the 2027 election by way of pressure on this government to hold a free and fair ballot, and some people in the opposition have said that, is the only way that such a clean election can be guaranteed, and that without it, the 2027 ballot will potentially be rigged. That's coming from a lot of your colleagues.
It's not
Oh, yes, there's almost certain to be an American interference in that. In fact, it's not even almost certain, it's guaranteed that there will be American interference in the upcoming election, because the upcoming election, of course, it still falls within the purview of the Donald Trump administration, and we know Donald Trump is a hands-on interferer in other people's political spaces. Whoever gets to Donald Trump first is going to be the president of Nigeria. So Tinubu already has somewhat of a loose. And by the way, the Donald Trump is actually married. One of his children is actually married into Yoruba land. By the way, I'm not quite sure if you know that or not. It's whoever gets to lean Donald Trump first is more likely to win that presidency than anyone else. But certainly, like Charles said, there'll be a hawkish American interference in the Nigerian political space. And this idea that they want a free election or not a free election, that has no meaning. They want to decide who the president will be that will favor their own agenda. So if Tinubu bent over for the Americans, they are happy for him to carry on. But if somebody else bends even further for them, then they will insist that Tinubu steps down. And we've seen what they did in Venezuela. So they have the potency of that threat over every other space that they have might over. So yes, the American interference, the American hand will be very heavy on the 2027 elections. There is no doubt about that.
It's not the only way. It's not the only way. It's one of those ways. Because
and by the way, sorry, can people please like and subscribe? We're not seeing numbers going up. Please let numbers go up. Click on the like button if you haven't already subscribed. If you're not already subscribed, we do this on a daily basis. Like and subscribe.
Because from even our recent history, the intervention of international community shaped the election of 2015, which the APC benefited from. So I expect similar intervention from international community. I'm not particular about the United States. I'm talking about democratic countries and international community now making sure, because they do it without direct interference,
right,
that the elections are free, credible, and fair.
And what is happening in that local government area, I think it's called ESAL, something in Sokoto State, where villagers are said to be moving to the local government headquarters for fear of bandits attacking them in Sokoto State?
Yeah, it's been happening randomly, not only in Isa, in Sabon Birni, in Goronyo. Even in my senatorial district in Shagari, we have had similar situation where most villages in Shagari local government left their villages and settled in Shagari township itself. And of course, it's been happening in Kebe and in Dangishuni.
Was this not the same guy that told us barely 5 minutes ago that there is no terrorism, no banditry in Sokoto State? Is it not the same guy?
In my own senatorial district. So it's correct that that we have that situation in Isa, and a number of local governments, including Raba in Wurno in the eastern flank of the state. That information is correct.
So does that justify the attack there?
The attack was not on Isa.
Right.
The attack was on Tangaza and Tambuwal. The most troubled part of Sokoto is Eastern Sokoto, Eastern Central District, which comprising Isa, Sabon Birni, Gada, Gorenyo, Elela, Godabawa, Wurno, and Raba. Up to today, these areas are the most troubled areas in the state. But the attack was not there. The attack was in Tangaza. Even though yes, Tangaza is having some security challenges, as I said, the history of this Lakrawas is that they come through Niger Republic, through that area, through Gada, the Gudu, Tangaza. But in terms of real security threat,
right,
and challenges, you have more in Isa.
Right. And just briefly, because we're coming towards the end of the interview, and I thank you very much indeed for your patience and the clarity of your thoughts. Do you welcome that American big stick in Nigeria as a way of bringing the ruling party to heel? Because so many Nigerians said after that attack, the government started sort of, apparently doing things the way they felt that they ought to do things. Do you think that coming from a party that has been critical of the governance style in this country, that big stick from the Americans helped to shape things in a better direction?
Well, I think that intervention, first, the statements from President Trump and the subsequent missile attack had some effect on the government of the day. They now had to maybe sit down and say, look, what's happening? And then you could see that, yes, there is some positive impact of all of that on the way the administration is now thinking.
So in that regard, would you like to see more of that from?
I would not want to see more of attacks.
Right. But you'd like to see diplomatic political intervention.
And then let us have a clearer and well-defined framework between Nigerian government and the US government for this engagement. And I am in the National Assembly. I'm a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These issues were not tabled before us. If you ask us today, we don't know how it came about. And I believe that at this level, we should know certain things. So the framework should be clearer.
So the government should tell Aminu Tambuwal and people like El Rufai's children in the Senate that the Americans are coming to bomb their insurgent bandit brothers so that they can go and give them forewarning. This guy must be a joker.
The agreement between the Nigerian military and the US military, or the Nigerian government and the US government, it should be clear, well defined. And then and as I said before, it shouldn't just be the United States of America. Every other country that is willing to help Nigeria resolve what we are facing now as security challenge, I welcome the idea.
Right. And just very briefly, because you were telling us quite comprehensively about what is happening in local governments in Sokoto State, where villagers were moving away from and so on. We've heard of this bandit kingpin called Turji. Yeah, Turji. I mean, why can't he be captured?
Charles, I am not the commander-in-chief.
I didn't think you were. But,
I am not.
You're a man with an ear to the ground.
I am not the National Security Advisor. But I believe that Bello Turji can be captured. I believe so.
If you were governor now, as you were
governor cannot capture Bello Turji because you can't even commandeer the CP.
Indeed, but you can certainly have discussions with the government.
No, we have discussions with the government, even under President Muhammadu Buhari, and we advise the president. As governors of the Northwest, including Niger and Plateau, on the way to go about simultaneous military operation in those areas affected. It was never done. So it's not as if, as a governor, there's much that you can do. You can only advise the president, give them information.
And what would you advise them about that today, about this Turji?
My advice is that we should not negotiate with the bandit from a weak position.
Right.
We should go after them, subdue them, and then come to the table.
Right.
But as where we are today, I don't support any such negotiations.
Right. Okay. We're almost out of time, and I appreciate the time you've taken to talk to us. If history judges your political career, what would you like it to say, and what are you afraid it might say?
What I would like history to say is that in my political sojourn, I've been selfless. I have impacted on human capital development of my people, the people I have been representing.
All right, so it's rounding off, so we'll round off too. So the upshot of it, the sum total of the 40 minutes thereabout interaction with Aminu Tambuwal is that he has told us now that and by the way, can people please make sure that they're liking and subscribing? Guys, the numbers are not going up, and the numbers should go up, and the numbers going up is only dependent on you liking and subscribing. So please do that, like and subscribe. So the upshot, the takeaway from this interaction with Aminu Tambuwal is that he has told us now that the Nigerian electorate are just time wasters and clowns, that their votes have no meaning. So he told us that, and he told us then that under no circumstances will he back anybody other than a northerner to be the flag bearer of the ADC. So he is quoted it in flowery language, but the condensation of what he has said is exactly that. So that is Aminu Tambuwal right there. Fulani to every drop of blood in his being, and fair enough, most people are ethnic jingoists within the Nigerian space. So that's been this session. Now we'll reconvene for much later in about 5 hours time. We'll reconvene again, maybe longer. So we'll reconvene later on in the evening to have a more leisurely walk through the Nigerian political landscape. But I'll leave it here. Meet you in the next session. But here I say, peace.